Hello and welcome to Conversations With, our monthly series of informal and enlightening conversations between the leading edge teacher and author, Jim Self, and some of today's most progressive and connected teachers, channels, and authors. Now, here's our host, Jim Self.
You know, you touch on something that's interesting. I'm watching this around the world, that many of the teachers, although everybody has to pay their bills and draw some kind of income off of the work that they do, many of the teachers are shifting the model from how do I make money to how do I give away a lot of information. And what they're finding is by giving it away, by being very generous with substantive, factual information, that they're actually becoming more prosperous and more people are listening. So it's nice to see this shift in attitude and understanding beginning to be much more aligned in this fifth dimensional consciousness.
Back in 1999 when I was channeling Tobias, he said right from the start that the monthly channels that we were doing, webcasts, that he said don't charge for them, offer them for free. And you know, there were a few people on our board of directors that weren't so happy with that, but it's turned out to be absolutely brilliant because it gives people a lot of information. We've got, 12 years worth of free information on the website, and if they want a deeper dive, they want to go to a workshop or participate in one of our conferences, of course they have to pay because it costs us money to produce these events, but it's really fascinating that, like you, Jim, I come from the business world, and in that business world, it was always about business plans and marketing plans. And as a matter of fact, I was a marketing consultant and always pushing the clients to do their plans. And now we don't have any and don't want them. And, somebody suggested once, asked about our business plan, and we just kind of looked at them like, you got to be kidding, because it's very much in the now. Now, we do know how to run our business in terms of expenses and revenues, but there's no plan in saying, here's what we're going to be doing 3 years from now. I can't even imagine 3 years from now.
Yeah.
So it's really quite a shift for me, but I find it's also a lot more comfortable, and it allows synchronicity to take place where literally if you have a business plan, or I'll go so far as to say if you have a life plan for yourself, if you have personal goals and objectives, it does have a way of blocking out some of the synchronicity that can come in. I know people that are over-goaled, everything is about a goal, and, to day-timers and all the rest of that. And it's not to say that you shouldn't feel into your own passions and desires. That is important, but in terms of saying you're going to accomplish certain things at a certain time date and like financial goals, oh my gosh, it's a mental activity, and it really blocks out the spiritual side of ourselves.
Yeah, very much so, very much so. Let's talk about that a little bit more in a different perspective. You and I have had this conversation in various ways, but with this shift of consciousness that we've all been anticipating, and in the December of 2012 really shifted significantly, there are aspects of this shift that are making the ability to do what you want to do and live the life you want to live very available to you. However, there is some confusion about that. And so you and I have talked about this shift, and one of the very large features of this shift is everybody has been given their freedom.
Yeah.
As you are free. And my observation, I'm interested in your take on this, is it's as if all of the magnetic pull, all of those rigid structures of the third dimension are really gone, and it's as if you say to this person, okay, you're free, you can do whatever you want, and you open the door and you kind of nudge them out the door, and then you close the door, and they go, wow, free. Oh, no, what do I do now?
Oh, crap.
And, yes, it's like the good news is I'm free, the bad news is I'm free. Are you watching that or experiencing that in your work, that people are seeing, sensing something going on, and yet there's almost more confusion in many people's space because they don't know what to do with this freedom?
Oh, absolutely. And Adamus, the entity that I work with and channel, he works in series. In other words, we do a series of 12 monthly channels and then start a new series. The current series that started in September of 2012 is called the Freedom Series. And he even started talking about it prior to that, he kind of provoking people. As a matter of fact, I remember it must have been about last spring or summer when he first started talking about the subject and said, here's the question. Does humanity want freedom? And do they have free will? And he said, I think not. And I got more email, as you can imagine. And I keep wanting to say, I'm just the messenger. And it was a provocative statement, but what he was saying was that actually we did have free will, but most people have given it up. They're not exercising it. They believe that because you can choose what color socks that you want to wear or whether you're going to go to Wendy's or McDonald's is freedom. But in a way, Adamus is saying that humanity is generally hypnotized and they don't really truly understand freedom, and he still questions to this day, is humanity ready? Now that doesn't mean you or the listeners or other people aren't going to accept it, but that's a pretty big thing to accept, and it begs the question then, what is freedom? And of course, every time I hear the word freedom in the spiritual context, I have to laugh. It reminds me of the movie Braveheart, and I forgot, Mel Gibson, I think, played the lead on it, and he's standing on top of a mountain. I think he has a sword in his hand, and he's yelling, freedom, freedom. And, it ended up in war and a lot of chaos and everything else. But, it's a nice battle cry, but what are the true implications of freedom in your life?
Now we're beginning to have all of that, who we are not, peeling away. Mm-hmm. And what I'm watching is all of a sudden people don't have their identity any longer. And coupled with that is that off-balance, uncomfortable, third-dimensional world where you deal in right and wrongs and good and bads and should and shouldn'ts. And even though I don't like all that, it's my stability in understanding how I relate to the world. And now that structure is being dismantled very rapidly right beneath many people, and they don't have that imbalance to stand on anymore. Plus, they are losing that sense of not okayness, and they're becoming free. But who am I as I'm becoming free is one of the challenges I'm watching people bump into.
Welcome to awakening. And it really does. It strips away the facade. And the interesting thing is, as we've traveled and done this work over the years, Linda and I have come to realize that so many people would like a few less problems in their life. They want a little bit more ease with their current identity, or to build that identity up a little bit more, maybe to be a little richer, a little younger, a little healthier, those type of things. But, real awakening and real freedom are about releasing the facades and getting down to the core of who you really, really are. And in awakening, it's like we almost create this awakening. I call it a demon or a dragon that's going to go to work and even on us as much as we resist it, but it's still our own. And that awakening dragon is going to go in and really tear apart the illusions of the things that are keeping us from understanding our divinity. And to me, the ultimate of awakening is that you accept your divinity, your humanity, every part of you into this reality, into this physical body. And you become literally an embodied master, living in ascension rather than dying to go to ascension. So, but there's this tremendous struggle, and I have to admit that, I go through it myself, that this awakening dragon comes in and tears apart the kind of the false stands or facades that I put there for myself, and I resist it, I'm fearful of it, but when that particular storm is done, I realize the absolute beauty in it.
Yes, yeah. And that's, I think, what a lot of people are starting to confront consciously or unconsciously, is that really strong request. Freedom might be the word that they would yell out from the mountaintop, but I wish to know myself in my own unique representation of the Creator. This shifting is going to be challenging for many people, and so I know you teach tools and skill sets, and that's really important for people to participate in. We teach tools to manage your energy as you go through this shift. I can't emphasize these tools enough. No matter where you get them, going through this period of time is going to be challenging, and one of the biggest challenges is you're going to see the world economic system shift. And it can no longer be a very small handful that you can number dominating. It's not 1%. It's a very tiny grouping of people in the tens and 20s and 50,000 people dominating the whole world economic game. And I'm not putting on my black hat and Illuminati type of thing. You don't have to look for evil. It's destroying itself. But when it does, it's going to change the game for everybody. So not being able to manage your energy, not being able to observe, choose, and act versus shoot, ready, aim, not being able to recognize that internal compass is really a mistake as we go into this shift. The shift has happened. It's the residue from previous that's going to be what is going to bite a lot of people in the butt.
I want to address something before we get into the questions that I think is really an important point, and it ties into this whole subject of freedom, and that's our monetary system. Everybody's kind of familiar a little bit with it because you deal with the currency of your country, whether it's dollars or pesos or euros. So you've got some buy-in into it, you got a background into it, and you got a bank account, and you look at what's on that piece of paper or what's on the internet tells you how much you have, and so you've got a little bit of background in it. Very few people really understand how the world monetary system works, and it's really actually not that important because basically that our current financial system is questionably about 500 years old. It was when the essence of it first started developing, and we've just kind of built on it. And you're absolutely right, Jim, that there's a fraction of 1% of the world's population that controls most of the money. It's not about going after them for your freedom. It's not about saying, well, we have to, go after the Rockefellers or the, Bushes or whoever it happens to be that you're worried about. I actually feel sorry for those people because, man, what are you going to do with all that money? I mean, really, how many iPads can you buy? How many cars? How many houses? But that's besides the point. But the point is that the world financial system that we know basically collapsed a couple of years ago, the whole thing. It's not backed up by anything tangible other than trust, and trust is questionably tangible or intangible. But it's right now, it's really just backed up by trust. It's not backed up by gold or anything that has real assets. It's a lot of paper, and it's even gone beyond that. It's a lot of digits on the internet now. So it essentially collapsed, but it's still functioning, which is kind of cool because it means that humans do have a large level of trust in each other. I mean, they have to make this current financial system work. What's really interesting now for those who are ready to embrace it is that we're going beyond the monetary system in the way that you receive and use energy in your life. You're still going to have dollars, and you're still going to have digits on the internet, but because that's how it's accounted for. But you don't have to buy into that system anymore. As a matter of fact, it becomes kind of peripheral. Adamus has been talking lately, started about a month or so ago, talking about something called the Illuminated Free World Fund, and it's kind of a mouthful. It's actually an Adamus joke that it's kind of a mouthful, but there's been a lot of rumors going around the internet for many, many years about something called the St. Germain Fund. And Adamus says that these rumors are that there's this massive amount of money that's been stockpiled that's going to be released, and it's going to even out everything in the world. Everybody's going to have the same amount of money, and you're not going to have to worry about paying your bills. It's all negated. It all goes away, and everybody's going to get this big distribution. Well, first of all, does that really sound like Adamas?
Yeah, right.
This kind of a cosmic welfare program, I don't think so. He actually says it's really a wonderful distraction from what the real fund is. He says the real fund is, and I'm going to give the short version here because I know time is running out, but he says there are 21 caverns around the world that hold immense stores of very precious crystals and jewels. And they've been accumulating for a long period of time. Some of them are earthly crystals and some literally from other parts of creation. They're here to help bring in, to draw in, and to focus the invisible energies or the cosmic energies that are becoming more and more available to us. So it's not the crystals in this cave that are so important. If you understand the physics of a crystal, it's the elements align with each other. They're not in random order as in a lot of matter. But the elements align, and crystals were used back in Atlantis, for instance, for focusing energy. So we have these 21 caverns plus what he claims is a crystal core of the Earth itself, surrounded by molten lava and all the rest of that, but crystal core of Earth. And he says this is now, essentially, these were activated after December 21st. They're available to anyone who is willing to use them for themselves, not to save the world and not to do social programs on other people because that's lacking in compassion, but anybody who wants to use it for themselves in their life. They're not going to get a package from UPS or FedEx with a bunch of diamonds and emeralds in it, but you can literally tap into these 21 caves. You don't have to know where they are, but you tap into the resonance with your passion and your desire and what you're choosing that you want in your life. And again, not involving other people and not going out and, doing the Save the Dolphin program. This is what you want for your life. So what's literally happened, and the implication of this is there's been all these energies everywhere, and it's here to serve us, but we're kind of get ignorant of the fact or ignore the fact that we focus on dollars and we focus on our bank accounts. That's really kind of irrelevant. There's these tremendous energies that we've been drawing to us, but up until recently, we kept them on the other side of the veil. We kept them out of arm's reach, kind of like they were above, we were below. We've actually opened that, and this ties in, Jim, to what you talk about with releasing the 3D world, walking beyond that. So we've opened kind of an energy portal that activates these 21 crystals that we can tap into, we can resonate with, to do whatever it is you want in your life. That's the good news. And it's very, very real. About a week ago, Adamas took a small group of people on a dream walk or a kind of a ethereal visit to a couple of these caverns, and they're amazing. And, don't try, looking for a treasure map and going there. You don't need to. You can sit at your desk right now and tap into it. The good news is that it's there. It's phenomenal amounts of energy that will come into your life and translate into, yes, eventually into things like dollars and euros, but a lot of other things as well. But the real question is, and the answer is still floating out there somewhere, the question is, do you know what you want to do with it? And I'm addressing the listeners here. Do you know what you want to do? And let's move beyond saying, yeah, I want a new laptop, or, geez, I just want to pay my bills. Those things are going to happen anyway once you tap into your passion and your real desire. Don't worry about that. Those things just kind of fall into place, really. Really, they just fall into place. The money to pay for your mortgage and all the rest of it, that just happens. What is it you really want in your life? And I'll put a challenge out there to the listeners. Can you be bold enough to tap into these caverns, to tap into these new energies that are available? There is a phenomenal amount of energy, enough for more than everybody on the planet for all their desires. So don't worry, you're not going to take anything from anybody else. But the challenge is, do you know what you want? Or are you just going to go, from today to tomorrow to the next day, just kind of doing the same thing, just kind of having a few complaints and a few little, then massages that come into your life, little conveniences, or are you going to go for it? And the fact is, now is the time. It's not about the year 2020, or it's not about some next, calendar event or anything. It's right now, and by everything inside of me, I'm telling you, these energies are here. It's just a matter of, do you know what you want to do for yourself, not to change your family or your, the planet or anything like that, but for you. It's truly amazing. So I'll leave it at that. But we're getting off the old monetary system. So don't buy into the dollars or the lack of dollars in your pocket. There's a new energy available to all of us. End of sermon, I guess.
No, that's very exciting, and it's consistent. It basically is, there is no lack, there is a complete abundance, and are you able to be centered enough to know what you would like and ask for it?
If you enjoyed this highlight from Conversations With, join Jim Self live on the Awakening Zone Network. That's awakeningzone.com. If you're looking for free tools for your personal and spiritual growth, if you want to be who you came here to be, visit masteringalchemy.com, where you can learn more about Jim, his work, and future guests. Our theme song is Hands of Love by Barry Goldstein. May you experience laughter and grace on your journey home.